need to submit the assignment as well, which carried 10 marks, no? Right. The assignment is this. Basically, tell your friends also. Now, this assignment, the submission date may be on 27th. The full detail will already emailed to you all, where it consists of 10 points, right? 10 marks. Your assignments to be submitted on 27th March. It is not the date not decided by me. The date is decided by the institute, right? And the case is this, right? JKG Bank obtained the license from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to open and operate a digital bank in Sri Lanka. And, sorry. And it is the first local bank to be fully digital bank in Sri Lanka. And the bank intend to commence business operation during end of this year. And you as Chief Strategic Planning Officer, CSPO, are requested to make a presentation to the JKG Board of Directors on following matters. Now, suitable vision, mission, value statement for the bank. Now, this is not a report per se, it is a slide presentation. So you can go up to maximum of 40 slides. If you want, you can go a little more, but it's up to you. So you may suggest vision, mission for bank, right? You can think. Now, when your preparations of vision, now you have to think you are a CSPO board presentation. It's a strategic officer where you have to prepare a slides. Now, like here, you prepare like, now say you can, at the topic as a presentation, JKG Bank, proposal or sub-proposal, vision, missions, and values. So you can say, now for slide words, you have to be, maybe around 20, size is around 18-20 range. It's not to be complicated, not all of big letters, but maybe around 20, 24 lettering is okay. And for slide presentation. And also, now suppose for an example, you just think you're on, right? If you say mission, now first you need to say what is mission. So think board may not aware. So mission is that. What are the advantages, right? And then what are the then you put your own mission for the bank and tell the key component of mission. Now say product. So the digital solution, for example, right? So you covered that, right? We have done something, and go through your statement, go through your notes, and develop these three things. You need to justify why you select this. Now, how can you justify? With some theoretical support, right? Now, say value. Why you say like that? You can't explain what is value. Why you put this value statement for this bank, right? Okay, this assignment you need to submit. Okay, so we'll start with the proceedings. We discuss. We may have another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? So we are going for discussion today, the last part where it covers maybe around 2 to 3 weeks. Strategic options and choice specific references to business expansion strategies, concentration, integrations, and here. So here what we discuss at the moment. Now, can you remember we discussed at the very early stage, second day maybe. So where we want to be. So that is how to set the vision, how to set the mission, how to set the value statement, corporate goals, objectives, and things like that. Policy we discuss under where do we want to be. So last week also we discussed about where are we now. That is for situational analysis. For that we did lot of techniques for SWOT analysis, corporate appraisal. Then we discuss about a pestle analysis, Michael Porter 5 forces analysis. All are we used uh, to basically to find it out where our position. And then today we are going to discuss how do we get there. So how we are going to move from your present existing position to future expectations. Now before that also we discussed last week, we discussed what is KPIs and to measure the importance of measuring key performer, measuring the effectiveness of the your strategy, right? So now we are going to discuss this part, basically how do we get there, okay, right, in details. Now we discussed the strategy is actually where is the general directions in which the organization plans to move, attain its goals, right? Okay, so we discussed basically some of the internal analysis and we discussed some of the external opportunities, right? And what we are trying to do through these, having this analysis, we identify there is an opportunity available in the marketplace, maybe through to pestle analysis or SWOT analysis or corporate appraisal. And we have discussed about the firm's capabilities in terms of competencies, resources, and things like that. Now, through the strategies, what we are going to do, we are trying to match these capabilities and opportunities, right? So that is basically strategies talk about. Right, now you see there may be four broad types of strategies, right? Where may be a very four broad terms of strategies. That is what you call integration strategies and integrative strategies, intensive strategies, diversification strategies, and defensive strategies. And there are some other alternative strategies as well: joint strategies, outsourcing strategies, competitive strategies, blue ocean strategies, international strategies, right? Things like that, what we are going to discuss. So we are going to discuss a lot of strategies, right, under this heading. That is why I told you it maybe take 1 or 2 days. Okay, now we look at it. Now if you want to improve your businesses, now remember some of the strategies we call are defensive strategies. That means sometimes we don't want to expand our businesses, right? We don't want to expand our businesses, but we need to protect our existing market share. Or maybe we need to, survive in the market. So therefore, we use some defensive strategies like divestation strategies, refreshment strategies, and things like that. But in the first area, we are going to discuss expansion strategies. Right? Now, why we need to have expansion strategies? Why we need to develop expansion strategies? Now, expansion strategies mean basically we want to improve our businesses, right? So that is what you call expansion strategies, right? Why we need to business to be expand? Now, what is strategy planning? Where are we now? Where are you want to be? So we need to expand our businesses. Why we need to expand? Right? Why we need to expand our businesses? One thing is to improvement in profit, sales, right? Or maybe you have identified there is a gap available in the market. There's nobody has fulfilled this gap, and also creating a monopoly situation, thereby we try to eliminate total competitors in the market to have a monopoly situation. And also we need to diversify our businesses, right? And so that reason we need to go for expand our businesses, and maybe due to survival purposes, improve the market share. So there are so many reasons why we need to expand our businesses. Now, there may be positive thinkers like owners, as they like to invest, and management, employees, customers, government, community. So they expected our business to be grow. Why they expand? Why they are expecting? Because now the government want to get more taxes. Community expecting more business or more jobs from our institution if our institutions grow. Then employees need a better return or better benefits. Customer needs better choices, right? Owners look at it, return on investment. So there may be various stakeholders are expecting our businesses to grow. For that, we are using expansion strategies, right? So we have identified basically, largely, there are 5 main type of expansion strategies. Now, if you really look at it, these strategies, so I'm referring to the banks specifically and also other companies as well. So what are the 4 or 5 type of main expansion strategies? 1, concentration. Second, integration. Third, I would say the what I would say a diversification, right? It's a diversification. And fourth is we call internationalization, corporations. So we are going to discuss in a greater detail about these strategies. Some of these strategies are very interesting. Right now, for example, internationalization, how Pepsi Cola improve their businesses, how McDonald's expand their businesses. What is the strategy they use it? Right? How Toyota company improve their businesses, how they expand their businesses. They use different type of strategies like this. So what we are going to discuss, we're going to discuss all these strategies in detail. Okay, first take the intensive growth strategies, or sometimes we call a concentration strategies, right? Intensive growth strategies, also we call them as concentration strategies. Now, intensive growth strategies, so it's very famous, especially for banks also. I try to explain by quoting some of the consumer market example, right? How that particular consumer market company improve their businesses. Take for example, what is intensive growth strategies? Now, intensive growth strategy, we have 3 types. One is market penetration, market development, and a product development. Market development, product development, market penetration. We have 3 types of intensive growth strategies. Now, if you see this Ansoff matrix, you know this fellow, right? He's called Ansoff, and he's the guy who come up with the product market strategy. So here we are going to discuss 3 here. So Iger and Soft, and he has developed certain framework where how a bank can improve their businesses. So we are going to discuss three type of growth strategies under concentrations or intensive growth strategy. What are the three type of strategies? Comes under concentration or intensive growth strategy, market penetration, product development, market development. Okay, right. So the important thing is here, so the organization is not going to do something radically change. They concentrate on what is the products they are having and what is the market they are dealing. So the two variables are market and a product. Okay, let's look at the first one. Market penetration. Market penetration strategy. First, intensive growth strategy. Now I try to help you, try to explain this in a very simple way. Now take Unilever. Take Unilever as an example. Then I come to banks later on. Take Unilever as an example. How Unilever tried to improve their Signal toothpaste in Sri Lanka market. How Unilever company in Sri Lanka tried to improve their businesses selling the Signal to existing customers. Now, Unilever using three methods. This is how market penetration. One method is tell your existing customers to use more. First steps under market penetration. Existing users to use more. Second, you see in the market there are some people are not using Signal toothpaste in this market. So you try to get them into the use of Signal toothpaste. But there are some other customers in the same market, they may not use Signal, but they may use alternative brands like Colgate, like that. Other brands, Superior Video, whatever. Other competitors' brand. Now, what Unilever try to do under market penetration strategy? Now you can remember some TV commercial. Now, how often you brush your teeth? Usually we usually take out in the morning. Now say you use one tube for 1 month. If you brush your teeth morning only, but Unilever is telling through the advertisements using the children as well. And remember the commercial. What again? Cart කියන්නේ මතකද? දැන් ඔබේ දරුවාට රාත්‍රියේටත් දත් මතින්න පුරුදු කරන්න. හොඳ පුරුදු කරන්න. දැන් commercial. කාටත් කියන්නේ රැටත් මදින්න. Now the guy who used earlier morning, now Unilever asked them the same customer to use in the night. So he spent only one tube per month. Because of his brushing his teeth on the night, he may use 2 tubes, increasing sales. Existing users to use more. Right? Now let's look at it. The second factor, and the market penetration. So there are some customers in the market, they never use any type of toothpaste. They're using Anguru, Danta Mukta, Aravinat alternatives. There are some people still. So you give free sample to them and make a habit of using toothpaste. Then they become customers of the brand. Second method, market penetration. Third, I told you there are some other competitors' brand used by customers. What Unilever do? Unilever give some offers, bundle pricing, toothpaste එකයි brush එකයි එකට දාලා අඩු price එකට දෙනවා. So what you call bundle pricing. Or special offers, two for one price, something like that. Because of that financial offer, the people may come to shifting the brand from other brand to Sigma. Right? This is how basically Unilever is using. Not only that, the other companies also like that. Now, say for example, soap. Can you remember the commercial used by Unilever by Sangakal? No? Eka, deka, tuna, rat. Hold on again. Eka, deka, tuna. The more you wash your hands, what is going? Wasting your liquid. Then of corona. This is so that one of the very good hands liquid again. So that is existing users to use more. Okay, right. Now let's look at it whether banks are using this strategy. We also, as banks, use this penetration strategy. How we use? We'll ask customers to, our existing customers to deposit more. So we have systems we call progressive account system. If you have a balance of, say, if your existing balance increased to 10,000, we'll have a separate interest rate. Suppose your balance increasing to 50,000, you have a separate interest rate. Something like that. Slab basis interest rate. More you deposit, more you get the interest. That's a one. And also to encourage the students as well as the children, what we do? We'll give different gifts to people who deposit different amounts. So are we using the market penetration strategy? That's the one. Existing users to use more. Second, are we using any other people who not with the bank here? So think about the bank branch. So usually the branch is consists of certain catchment area. What we do? We do house-to-house campaign, and we'll see, we'll ask from them whether are you having an account with us. So what we do? Then they will ask, are you having any bank account? No. Then we do. And sometimes today we are using at the time of due birth, baby birth, also take an advantage to offer free gifts, free account. Now, a lot of banks are using. Go to some hospital, especially at Morella and certain hospital, Castle. This is a maternity hospital. When they give birth to the kid, a baby, so you open account with the gift. Bringing them new customers in the existing market. Are bank using? Yes. Third, get involved the customers of your competitors. We do know how we do. So the coach this branch deposits. So then they see the path. Higher. So customer will bring the money to you. So you bring the customer of the opposite bank. Even for a loan, redemption, owning redemptions, credit card redemptions. You see, the banks are doing a lot of things like that, no? So therefore, banks use market penetration strategy. Yes, even though we don't know, we are using this strategy very heavily. That is what we call the market penetration strategy. I hope you understood. Okay. Right. Now we move into the second strategy comes at the intelligent growth strategy. We call market development. What is market development? Market development is talking about one way to grow a business through a market development. We are finding new market for your businesses. What do we do? Can you tell banker how we develop market development strategy to improve my businesses? So we open branches. We come up with new delivery channels. We go for overseas branch opening. So that's market development. So banks improve their businesses through such proceeding. Market development. So we may go in for a new locations. Now compare People's Bank, Bank of Ceylon, Sampath, NSB, it can be like that. So Bank of Ceylon and People's Bank have a large network. Imagine Sampath is having around 200 branches, for example. 1 billion per branch, for example. What is their deposit base? 200 billion. I'm just simply tell you some example. Think about Bank of Ceylon. They had around 400 odd branches. 1 billion, 400 billion. Whereas People's Bank, maybe 500 billion. NSB maybe 200 odd billion. So, asset base or the deposit base of that Sampath versus People's Bank. What is the difference? Because of the number of branches, nothing else. If you can have the same number of branches, you may definitely improve your businesses. Now people are talking about branchless banking, digitalized banking and digital banking and everything. But still, in context of Sri Lanka, I have written an article. If you want, I can send it to you. Just publish it daily news in 2 months back about the future of branch banking, where I discuss the positives as negatives of branch opening. Right. So, but still, at the moment, the market development can be improved, can be used for as a strategy to improve the business under intensive growth strategies. Third strategy, called productivity. Now, sometimes you identify, explain to you, there's a market gap in the there's a gap in the need gap in the market. No bank of fulfill a certain requirement of the customers. Right now, or maybe you have using your existing product which are outdated or maybe not good. When we discuss about last week, I think product life cycle, we discussed that once the products come to the maturity stage, this product is going to come down. What Unilever is doing, they're going to relaunch the product. That's existing product. Or otherwise you can come up with a total new product. Now, whatever said and done, there's a vacuum in the market for MSME sector, credit product, right? Micro, small, medium sector, enterprise, right? There's a vacuum. Can you come up with new product for those people? So that is market product development, right? Now you're catering to the existing customers, right? That is what you call product development. Right. Now, mind you, this every strategy need money, need investment. Each strategy need corporate governance support, the board of directors support. Because why? Because those are highly expensive strategies. You need money, right? So therefore, different strategies have different risk levels. Now, if you take the first three integrative strategies, first intensive growth strategies, you noted that the risk factor, the risk profile of these three strategies are various. What is the less risk-free strategy out of market penetration, market development, and product development? The less risk-free, less risk strategy is market penetration, because you are catering to your existing customers, right? So through cross-selling, you can do the market penetration also, right? Okay, so customer come to withdraw the money, give him a loan against deposit. That is cross-selling and improve your market penetration strategy. Now, the strategies here, how we are going to do? The implementation part is taken care by the marketing mix element, that is your tactics. And for an example, if you want to, that's not necessary this example, right? Then product development. What is the riskiest strategy out of these? I told you, market penetration, less risky compared with other two. When you take the market development, product development, from these two, the product development strategy is more riskier than market penetration. Now, why you see that the research has shown that out of new products, if you introduce 100 products, right, the 90 products are failed and only 10 products are successful. So therefore, it's very risky if you go in for the product development, right? If you want to get the support from the top management, you need to convince them. Okay, next one. Okay, next strategies, we are going to discuss the second type of strategy. We are going to discuss about the diversification growth strategy. Call them as diversification growth strategy. Right? Now, what do you mean by a diversification? So, diversification means now you may not use your existing market, or maybe not using your existing product to cater to your customers, but you are going to diversify your strategy. So businesses often use diversification growth strategies when they have exotic opportunities within their present industry. Now take example here. Take example is Swarnamal. Take example for Swarnamal. So they try to diversify their businesses, right? So how they diversify? They went into Swarna Vahini, the media channel. They went into Pony, E.A. Pedrasinghe, and then further they went into Swarnamal Investments and Swarnamal ETI Finance. So this is the way they try to diversify their businesses, and thereby they try to improve their businesses, right? Because they thought, now we have a very limited market in Sri Lanka for jewelries, so it's very difficult to survive with Swarnamal. So we need to diversify our businesses. That is how they went into the different businesses. That is diversification. Right? Now, diversification, you noted, there are two types of diversification. There are two types of diversification strategy. What are the two types of diversification strategy? One is, we call them as related diversification and unrelated diversification. We call them as concentric diversification and conglomerate diversification. So concentric means the related diversification and unrelated diversification. This is what you call conglomerate diversification. Now take my example again. Take my example here again. Take the Swarna Mahal. So Swarna Mahal is something jewelry concerned job. What may be his related diversification strategy they use? They use EAP addressing a pawning. That is something related to their businesses. Why? If you mortgage, if you pawn the article in EAP addressing, if you not recover, those gold can be used for Swarna Mahal making jewelries. Now you see the relationship, the related businesses. That's okay. Less risky. But when you look at it, unrelated diversification, say for an example, they move into finance businesses, high risk, that may be the reason they are failing. Unrelated conglomerated diversification. I think now you understood what is conglomerated diversifications or unrelated diversification or concentric diversification. So both way you can use to improve your business. Right? Okay. So basically the diversification, you can divide it into two. Sometimes we call concentric diversification or sometimes we call integrative strategies. There are two types of integrative growth strategies. One is vertical, other one is we call horizontal. Vertical or horizontal. Now, what is vertical integrations? Now, the vertical integrations mean basically you are take over the supplier or distributor into your hand. Now, say you are a cloth manufacturing company. Suppose you are a cloth manufacturing company. Okay, cloth manufacturing company. Then you need materials, raw materials to manufacture or convert it in your cloth shirt company. We say shirt company. So you need buttons, some certain threads and all so to complete your shirt. And the shirt what you develop in your factory need to be selling to customers. For that you may have a distribution channels. You may need distribution channel. Now what you're going to do now through the vertical integration, you're going to take over distributor, or maybe you're going to take over supplier. Then you are good at your business. Why? You are not dependent on your supplier or you are not dependent on your distributor. They may have a bargaining power, they will put conditions to you. And here now you have their own both raw materials as well as the finished goods as well as the distribution. So that is what you call vertical integration. You have the ownership of both distribution as well as suppliers. Now, for vertical integration, you can further divide it into two like this. We say forward integration and a backward integration. Now, forward integrations mean the strategy used by a company to gain control over its distributors. We call forward integration. Backward integrations mean we have used strategy to gain control over the supplier. We call backward integration. Now, forward integrations and backward integration comes under the vertical integration. So, vertical integration means take over the supplier or distributor. But if you take over the distributor, we call forward integration. If you take only the backward, that means the supplier, we call them as backward integration. Right? So it's like this. Now think about printing company. They take over the manufacturers of paper. Or paper can take over the printing company, a printing company or can take over by the paper manufacturer. Either way, it's called forward integration and backward integration. Right? Okay. Then we have a horizontal integration. I told you integration strategies can be divided into two. One is vertical integration and a horizontal integration. Now, horizontal integration, there's nothing much. What we try to do? We try to take over the competitors. We buy competitor, create a monopoly situation. Yeah, okay. So that is horizontal integration. So you're going to buy the competitors. Now there's no. So what is horizontal integration trying to do? So you have the economic of scale advantages, right? Monopoly situation in the market through the horizontal integration. Now these methods or the integrations are strategies where you can increase your businesses using these strategies, right? Okay. So then we discussed earlier the diversification. I think there's something is overlapping some slides here, right? Some slides are overlapping, but don't worry, right? Then we discussed diversification. So we have horizontal diversification, that is product or service that can be sold to its present customers. Now, say for an example, horizontal diversification, we call them as we buy some complementary items. We're going to take over some of the companies who have produced similar products. So we go for unrelated, what you call this diversification. As I explained to you, you call these Swarnamal, moving to, they're not related products. So that is unrelated or conglomerate diversification, right? Okay. So now say for an example about the integration strategies. Now think about you're a car manufacturer. You as a car manufacturer, that's your company. You call them as you are going to take over truck manufacturer, another company. And you are going to go take over the another company which is manufactured buses. What is that? Your complementary products. It is called horizontal integration. Right? But if you're going to take the company who manufacturing a component of the cars, that is his supply. Then what is that? Backward integration. Now once you manufacture the car, You need to distribute this car certain outlets in the country. That is belong to someone else. But now you know that you are going to take over that retail network also, the selling places. That is forward integration. Now you see, this is what you call the integrations. So integrations can be divided into two. What are the two things? We call them as vertical integrations, horizontal integration. Vertical integrations, you divide it again into two, backward and forward. Okay, right. So now we learn about the diversification as well as integrations. Now I want to tell you that diversification, we have two, we call them as related diversification and unrelated diversification. Now I give you an example for related diversification, as we call them as synergistic diversification and horizontal diversification. Right? Okay. Now let's look at it. The international expansion strategies. Now these strategies we use to basically when you move into another country to improve your businesses, we call them as international expansion strategies. So indirectly, these strategies we call them as foreign market entry strategies. Foreign market entry strategies. Now the first strategy is called exporting. Now it's a simple thing. Now we produce a product at home and shipping it to a foreign market. Example. Example. Now we also do tea in Sri Lanka. And we produce here and ship to another market. Exporting. Even for Toyota company, we are the agent here. They directly send the cars to local agent. They appoint agent. Through the agents, you are trying to sell the product to the country. Associated Motorways, our agent for Maruti, Indian cars. Right. Second one is how can we enter into another country by to improve our businesses. We call turnkey project. I need to explain. What do you mean by a turnkey project? Turnkey project is like this. Usually turnkey projects we may consider for a high value construction products. Take example, suppose we got the foreign company to build a highway, for example. We'll hand it over after tendering with proper documentation and tendering procedure. We'll tell that particular company Okay, you need to build a highway road from Colombo to, say for an example, Ratnapur. So all the expenses you need to do. Payment of compensation to the people who have suffered. But we will support as government, right? You develop. And then we come to an agreement with that company. Okay, till 10 years, for example, we take the money generating from that road. That means you need to pay for fee, when you're going that road. So till 10 years, we need to enjoy that benefits. That is the return. Then after once you completed of 10-year period, that company will hand it over the highway to Sri Lankan government and then they go. Of course, they need to look at it investment appraisal, right? How much they can earn during that 10% as highway charges, right? What is the cost involving in this project? All. We also have something in mind. We need to looking into ensure that your road not to be constructed only to 10 years. It's more than that. All things has to be there. So turnkey mean, so once you have earned adequate profit, but they have invested in Sri Lanka, then after that they will hand it over to Sri Lankan government and then, so we don't want to spend money. It's some way like a hire, it's like a leasing. So they use, but here instead of payment installment, the money generated from this road will be taken by the project. Turnkey is that. Turnkey. We have the Jaya terminal here at Colombo Harbour. It also comes as the turnkey project. So another method you can enter into the another country, but specifically the turnkey project for a construction company want to enter into another country. Then we have a wholly owned subsidiary. Sri Lanka we have two at least famous. That means they establish the subsidiary in here for these companies. Say for example Unilever. Then you have a Nestle. These are fully owned subsidiary. How Nestle come to Sri Lankan market? Establishing a subsidiary in Sri Lanka. So at the subsidiary, they manufacture the products. This is another method how Nestle come into the Sri Lanka. How Nestle came to Sri Lanka. How Unilever product came to Sri Lanka. Right? So these are international expansion strategies. Right. Then we look at it another method. How McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, those are international brands. How they came to Sri Lanka? So we are another market. What is the strategy they use? It's called franchising. So what is franchising? So the purchase of the right to exploit a business brand in return for a capital sum and a share of profit or turnover. So one local company, a company like McDonald's Incorporation, the Sri Lankan guy is the Abbas. Soft logic for Burger King. KFC Cargills. So they are entering into a franchising arrangement. For that, we need to pay some money, a capital sum, and the share of profit of turnover. So this is how McDonald came to Sri Lankan market. So the franchisee, that being the local person, as far as the McDonald is concerned, the Abans pay the franchisor, the international McDonald in USA, an initial capital sum, and they have to pay a share of profits or loyalty, whatever you call it. Maybe the franchisor provides his marketing to allow them to use the brand names, maybe share some of the recipes. And franchisor imposes strict rules and control to protect their brand name and reputation and the services. Right? This is how McDonald came to Sri Lanka. Not only to Sri Lanka, and that's the strategy they are using for entering into the other countries as well. Those are international expansion strategies. How internationally you can. Then you have another one we call licensing arrangement. Now, what is licensing? Licensing means basically for companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola in Sri Lanka. So they give only the brand name and the powder. And Sri Lankan franchise licensee in Sri Lanka can bottle it. They can use it their logo and marketing material and say. This is how Coca-Cola went into other countries. What is the strategy they use? The licensing strategy. And mind you, then somebody can ask, what is the difference between licensing and franchising? Remember that licensing, not much having control about the selling part. So they are not bothered about how they sell your product. But franchising is a hybrid product because why? Because when you go for any country outlet of a McDonald's, you can get the same services, same manner in which they have arranged the tables and the services, all are to some extent need to be maintained. So therefore in franchising is more control than licensing. That's because of the nature of the product. Nothing else. Okay? Right. And this is how Coca-Cola company move into another country. Licensing agreement. Another method we can use it. It's a joint venture. Now how Suzuki company in Japan enter into the Indian market? Or we say Suzuki Alto. So Alto is the Indian name, Suzuki is the Japanese name. They have a joint venture. So the car manufacturing is taking place jointly in India. This is how Suzuki company came into Indian market. It's called joint venture. Otherwise, Indian government not allowed to Japanese company to come and do the businesses in India, car business. Huge market. Okay, so both need to be jointly manufactured. Suzuki Maruti. We call Suzuki Maruti. Right? This is how car moving to India. And then how joint venture took place between huge Xerox. Is a joint venture between an American and a Japanese company. It's a photocopy paper machines. Right? How Xerox company in UK say enter into the Japanese market. So Fuji, Xerox, joint venture. Right? There may be some example for like that. How? Another important methods, we call them as strategic alliances. Now banks, that mean strategic alliance mean basically partnership between two or more firms for developer to achieve a common goal. Can anybody can tell me these are of course the cooperation strategies. Can anybody can tell me in banking what is the famous strategic alliances arrangement? One is Lanka Clear, right? It's a strategic a common ATM switch. Okay, so example here. So the next cooperation strategy is what you call merging and acquisition or organic growth. Now, what is merging? Merging is joining two equal sized companies together. A merger is a combination of two companies to form a new company. While an acquisition is the purchase of a one company by another one. So there is no new company formed, they are acquisition. In Sri Lanka, can you tell me we had the acquisition, banking acquisition incidents took place. What is this? First one, Regional Development Bank bought, purchased, acquired Lankaputra Development Bank. That of course due to government directions, central bank directions, but they have taken. The National Savings Bank taken over of the Sri Lanka Insurance, Sri Lanka Savings Bank taken over by the National Savings Bank. Okay? Right. So, merger and acquisition. Why people now in banking, we call them as consolidations. So that's a strategy used by the administrator or regulator. So we have a more number of finance companies. They are facing with some difficulties with respect to what I say with respect to maintaining their capital adequacy level. There are some liquidity issues. So therefore, the central bank given directions to find some solution for that. And the government think the best thing is the consolidations. Joining two, three organizations together, consolidate and to become one organization. It's not necessary one company taken over by another one. Can be two, three companies joined together can form a one company. But now present situation in Sri Lanka, what is happening, what central bank may be expecting to not to join two bad organizations together. Maybe they're expecting you may go merge or acquired with another strong organization. Then you're okay. Otherwise, too bad together, same thing happen. Right? So, what are the motives of merging and acquisition? Why we need to merge? Maybe due to three reasons. One reason may be due to strategic motives, or due to some financial motive, or managerial motives. Let's look at it now. What is strategic motive? Now, if you want to improve their businesses, right? So this is how, if you really look at it, this is how HSBC Bank went into UK. How they enter into the UK bank? They go for acquisition. So Mainland Bank during that time was taken over by the HSBC. This is how HSBC entered into the UK market. Or maybe due to consolidate the competitions, as I explained to you, strategic decision. And also because of the capability, they want to improve their capabilities. These are strategic motives why people are going for merging and acquisition. Then you may look at it some of the financial motives. To get some financial efficiency. So the strong balance sheet with company with the weak balance sheet, you cover up your balance weak or the weak balance sheet with the strong balance sheet. That is the primary objective of consolidations or the merging and acquisition by the central bank as far as the finance companies are concerned. Then there may be a tax efficiency. There may be a tax advantages from bringing together different companies. Right? Some assets issues. Then managerial motives. So there are sometimes they want, some key people want to get more exposure of their managers. So one company may be private company, one company may be maybe semi-government company. So semi-government company people are not much work hard. So why they take the another companies to get other people to work hard, right? Some managerial purposes. Also, to obtain some synergistic effects. Synergies. Now, what do you mean by a synergy? Actually, the synergy is a concept that value of performance of two companies are combined, work better than when they are working individually. Simple is 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2 is more than 2. But in arithmetic, 1 plus 1 is 2. But in synergies, 1 plus 1 is more than 2. Right? To improve your market share, right? Get some synergistic benefits, people are go for merging and acquisition. Remember, the merging and acquisition is a strategy. Then they may come up with, and also remember, I want to tell you something also here. There may be a lot of issues compared with merging and acquisition. When we join another company, there may be always cultural issues, management issues, there's a conflicts. All merging and acquisition sometimes may not be successful due to various determinant factors, right? So some of the disadvantages are cultural issues due to lack of social and cultural fit. There's a problem with management style, lack of enthusiasm, or lack of money to purchase, like that. Okay, so the merging and acquisition, good, but there are some limitation factors. So with knowing all these things, why uh, before you take over another organization, remember, you need to carry out some uh, customer due diligence test or something, where you look at it, because merging and acquisition is highly costly exercise. You're going to take over another organization. So therefore what happened? You need to look at it whether the suitability of your acquiring company, right? And also I want to just to tell you something about acquisition. Acquisition may be two types, maybe friendly acquisition or hostile acquisition. Right? Now, friendly acquisition means so both organizations are willing to take over operations activity. But sometimes hostile acquisition means the management and the board of directors may be in that particular organizations not willing to join with that another company. So that is, but still, because of the majority of shareholders give concern or sell their shares to that company, despite the fact of your organization, despite the fact of the management of the company is reluctant, but shareholders have issued the shares to them. So therefore, that company will take over company in question. So that's sort of incident we call or hostile acquisition, right? Okay. So as I explained to you, before you take another company, you need to do a sort of a study in terms of a study in terms of what you call the due diligence, right? Okay, I think you heard a lot about the merging and acquisition. And this is another strategy people use, we call blue ocean strategy. Now, what is blue ocean strategy? Right? Blue ocean strategies honestly put forward by Kim and Morgan in 2005. And he said, okay, why we fight? So we look at a total different approach to compete with your competitor. Now you may learn about Michael Porter competitive strategy. So what Michael Porter competitive strategy is talking about, how to beat your competitor. But blue ocean is called the red ocean strategy. But this strategy is totally different. Right? It's a blue ocean strategy. Now this is how Apple used. It's a very famous competition between Apple versus Microsoft. Now you see, in 1998, Microsoft market value is around 244.8 billion US dollars. Apple is 4.3 billion. Imagine the market value in 1998. But now look at it around somewhere in 2015, close to 15, 16. The market value now is more, right? But I'm referring to 2015. Maybe their market value is around 347 billion. Of course, yes, it's increased. But look at it. The Apple market value is making around 2015 is 742 billion from 3 billion. So what is the approach they took? They took a totally different approach. They, rather than fighting with Microsoft, they came up with iPod, iTunes, iPhone, App Stores, iPad, Apple Watch, all things. So he created a moves in the market without competing with others. So market creation, he create the market rather than competing with market. For what Microsoft, a lack of compelling market creating moves, they just goes. That is why they are still earning profit. But Apple is more than that. So when you compare with the red oceans and the blue ocean, now red ocean mean we are competing. Blue ocean mean we are not compete. We look at it separate place in the market. So here the red ocean we try to beat the competition. But in blue ocean strategy, so we are not going to beat the competition. Right? So competition they think is an irrelevant. Now red ocean strategy, we try to exploit the existing demand. And blue ocean, we are trying to create and capture untapped demand. They try to bring the hidden demand, create hidden demand they have not identified. So these are the two types of strategy: red ocean, blue ocean. So you can select in the banking also, rather than competing with the existing bank, or we may look at totally different. right? Okay. Then there is another strategy used by a lot of organizations today. It's called outsourcing strategies. We call outsourcing strategies. So you know what you mean by outsourcing. So some of the activity you have done internally, now you are given for a third party to do the work. That is what we call outsourcing strategy. Now a lot of banks are heavy outsource using a lot of outsourcing strategies. Right? Withdrawing from certain value chain activities and relying on outsiders to supply need products. So at the moment, loading of cash for ATM machines, then delivering of your processing of your renewal notices is operational, but then your security or janitorial works was outsourced, right? So according to the central bank directions, you cannot outsource all the activities in the bank, but there are some only certain activities you can outsource. Now, for example, strategic management, you cannot outsource, but you can get the support. Then you cannot outsource the risk management. You cannot outsource the compliance functions. You cannot outsource the internal audit, but you can outsource external branch audit. Right? So certain things you cannot outsource, but certain things you can outsource. Now the companies like Tesco, a very big supermarket chain in UK, their entire HR department is located in India. They don't have HR department. That was fully outsourced. That's because of the developments of the technology. Right? But in Sri Lanka, there are central bank give the direction. What are the activities you can outsource and what are the activities you cannot outsource. What are the advantages of having outsourcing? So you can get the things done at a reduced cost. And some of the activities, if you outsource, this company can do better than us. Therefore, we can concentrate on a more important strategic areas of our business activities. We can leave other people who are an expert in certain areas, ask him to come to. But there's some danger of outsourcing also. One factor is the reputational risk or the what you call the secrecy of information. And then there may be a social unrest about the employees because people think so they may lose their job. There's a social unrest situation because of outsourcing. So when you're using these strategies, you need to understand the resistance of employees. You need to communicate them and tell them and then sort it out certain problem. Right. And now, up to now, we discuss about business expansion strategies on some supportive strategies. But sometimes we need to use some defensive strategies as well. I can identify 3 types of defensive strategies. One is retrenchment, divestiture, and liquidations. Now remember, strategies not always need to be an expansion. There may be some defensive strategies you need to apply according to the requirement. So what do you mean by retrenchment strategies? Retrenchment strategy. So that is now your organization need to be survived. So therefore you need to reduce your expenditure. Maybe due to declining of sales and profit. So you're trying to regroup your organization to a small unit. Second one is the divestiture. So selling the divisions or part of an organization. Now it is in Sri Lanka is divestiture used by Brown's company. You know, Brown's is a group of company. They had Brown's supermarket, Brown shop, you know, and they have some Brown's what you call batteries, right? There are a lot of group. So what they done is, so certain part of the organization or division sell it to a third party. This is another strategy. They make concentration where they can do better. So that is strategy we call divestiture strategy. Sometimes we use the strategy called the liquidations. Suppose if you feel you cannot carry out this business anymore, so therefore we may use the liquidation strategy. Right? They sell it all of the company assets in parts of their tangible worth is called liquidations. So some of the strategies you can use it when your business cannot be carried out, not to expand, but to limit. Okay, so you see now there are some lot of strategies. We may use it in the context of business expansion as well as business contraction. Right? On top of that also, we may have some supportive strategies we call beat the competitor. Now we discussed red ocean strategy. Michael Porter has come up with another strategy we call how to beat your competitor. Now he has identified three types of strategies for that. One is cost leadership, other one is a differentiation, the third one is a focus strategy. Now what is Michael Porter talk about the generic strategies we call, or sometimes we call competitive strategies. They said if your organizations can give, when you are compared with other similar businesses at a low cost to your customer, so you can beat your competitor. So for that, you need to control your cost as maximum possible. And this is how budget airline comes into the scene. Cost leadership. Now people don't want much more facilities while you are traveling, especially short distances. You need to pay and take anything you need. Okay, so that is cost leadership strategy. cost leadership strategy. So how can you beat your competitor? So the next strategy is called the differentiation strategy. Now, how Singapore Airlines use. We may travel to the same destination, but they have services and things are different. That is differentiation strategy. You make your offer different than your competitor. This is another strategy who will beat the competitor. The third strategy is called the focus strategy. The focus strategy we call as, so don't go to all the markets. We may identify some of the niches in the market where nobody has fulfilled these niches. And then you go for offering product and services to that market. We call focus. There may be a lot of premium beers, different taste. This is how these bitter taste beer came into the market. But different people like different taste. Some people like soft, some people hard, like that. So we identify the specific segment of the group in the market where they need different approach to satisfy their needs. And as an organization, you try to focus that requirement and you come up with the focus strategy. This may be small group of consumers to compete to come into the market. Right? So that is what Michael Porter talked about. 5 focuses strategy. Right. So today we stop from here, and you noted that there may be some assignments as well as the exam. So we may stop today and we will continue this for next week, and maybe I can't remember the next week is the last day, but whatever the things we will discuss next week as well. Right? Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you on next Saturday the same time. If you have any problem to ask from me about your assignment where you get 10 marks, please discuss with me or ask anything from me on next week. Right? So see you now, and then we will see you on next Sunday, right? Next Saturday.